Now to some people, or, okay, most people, there's nothing more pathetic than a grown man playing with a sword in his backyard. Of course, not to YouTube though, which was basically created after realizing Uncle Ricos highlight tapes were kinda a real thing people do. But you don't have to believe me, look at the timeline. Then the Google shrewdly snapped it up, rightly believing they could monetize the average person's attempts at connecting the dots between cheese pizza, politics, all while giving an amazing makeup and gun cleaning tutorial. And then, well, here I am, a man of 40. No one's gonna be laughing when I have Wrangler Star money, ranting about what it means to be a real man. Oh, I realize how that sounds now. So, and what's appropriate with keeping up with the currentness of this channel, let's look at the knife you can't buy as of September. Of course, outside of desperate to avoid house foreclosure posts on random pre-apocalyptic survivalist forums, the Zombie Tools Deuce II lawn sword. Almost like I knew in February when a viewer donated it to the channel, which thank you by the way, that I should wait 8 months before getting around to doing a video about it. But before we do any of that, let's take a look at the dimensions of my Duece. Like the overall length and weight, with and without the sheath. Some jokes write themselves. Blade size and cutting edge. That happened to be one of them. I'm not going to take credit for a low effort poop joke. Handle size and grip area. Okay, yeah, you know what? This channel's my legacy, so it's mine. Spine thickness and handle thickness. Something my children and their friends will discover one day at school. Tallness is. While some parents leave their children money, I have none. I'll leave mine an embarrassing social media trail. The important lesson to learn is that this is what it feels like to not have friends. That's parenting. So while the Duece II has been retired, the good news is, thankfully for weebos with $450 to burn, this surprisingly dangerous piece of steel has been replaced with the Duece III. And according to the product description between the 2 and the 3, it slims down the blade stock some, while maintaining the same length. Although the listed weights are suspiciously the same between the two Duces. Sounds like someone should make a video and connect the dots for everyone. It's Weightgate. The blade on all 3 revisions of the Duces has been made from 5160 carbon steel with an acid-etched finish. Carbon steel will rust if not wiped down and cared for after each display of antisocial lawn care. The blade was given to me, but even secondhand, it was still sharp enough that it could pierce through the opposing leg on the follow-through of an awkward swing. The handle, Zombie Tools leather-wrapped handles over their acid-etched, rough aluminum scales, and a full tang, are very comfortable and provide plenty of grip, even for moist, clammy hands. Some of those may be even lucky enough to have had sex. There's plenty of grip for 1, 2, or maybe even 3 hands, but the weight of the Duece necessitates 2 hands at least most of the time. Now, this being my second Zombie Tools, I'd say the leather-wrapped handle is probably my favorite of any large blade or machete, and now that I think about it, if you would have asked me 10 years ago one day I'd have an opinion on favorite sword or machete handles, I'd tell you to go fuck yourself. I've not noticed any areas of loose leather or peeling in the few years I've owned the Vacra, which is my other Zombie Tools. The sheath. The sheath it comes with is a Kydex one that has mounting holes. You bring your own hardware and or danglers. You can upgrade to a leather sheath for a price, or now Zombie Tools offers an upcycled dangler option on its website. This enables you to properly carry your side piece for a stroll in the park or a trip to the Dairy Queen to reward yourself for an especially vigorous backyard highlight video. While they were sharing a drink with acquaintances, you were patching a hole in your grandma's pool. The Kydex is nice and has a decent amount of retention, even without a snap. To remove, just pop with your thumb, then awkwardly try to shake off the sheath for your video. Comparisons. First, the Duece II. Well, it's not what I would call a sword. It's heavy compared to a standard machete. It's probably more sword than machete because of its thick, unbendable blade stock. And that way it's similar to my Condor tool and knife Yoshimi machete. The Condor has a pretty comfortable handle, but it's smooth and not as sure in the hand as the Zombie Tools. The Condor often feels like it'll slide out of your hand as you swing, which, come to think about it, is probably the point. The Zombie Tools is heavier though, and one might say they prefer it when compared to laughing at an inside joke with old friends or the warm embrace of a lover. How about another chopper? This one's slightly shorter, the Condor Golok. It's not as long, it's lighter, and although the handle is smooth, it's bulbous and stays in the hand, much like the newly returned Popeye's chicken sandwich. The Golok is a saner choice because it's smaller and cheaper, although the Zombie Tools would give you the length advantage in Popeye's if you had to delim an 80-year-old who stole your chicken sandwich right from your hands. How about the all-terrain chopper from the Cold Steel? The all-terrain chopper is basically a machete, like you might sling over your shoulder and carry for work. You can chop with it too, but the blade has a lot of flex, so if you're chopping wood or hitting limbs, it may flex on you and not get as solid of a hit. The rubberized handle is also nice in the hand, and it's very cheap at about $35. The rest of these are, $70 and up. If you're chopping harder, woodier items, the Zombie Tools wins. And last but not least, the Aranyik. A rigid lawn sword as well. This one's only about $40. Looks like their website is up again, which of course doesn't include this sword for whatever reason. It's a great value for people into collecting occasional use large and practical machetes to make internet videos about, so highly recommended. Alright, wrapping it up. Zombie Tools makes well-made, expensive blades. $450 sounds like a lot, but then you realize people pay for steel flame kill boxes, which is a square with a bullet hole in it, and for about 30 seconds you feel smarter. The short ones, like the kukri, have more practical applications. Even though they cost more than a chainsaw, a cheap machete, a six-pack of butt ice, and a hedge trimmer combined. It's still a good choice. The Duece is long and heavy, so it makes sense for stationary, woody objects. I guess also, zombies too. If I still had access to bamboo, it might work well. It's pretty decent at chopping wood if you've lost your axe. And if you're not drunk off your ass, it might get tiring if you're clearing light brush with it. A lot of swinging will make your arms feel tender at the end of the day. And since I'm asked often on these reviews, do I like the knife that I'm reviewing? Like the Zombie Tools here? Yes, absolutely I do. It's still my favorite large chopper after my kukris, being the other Zombie Tools I own and the Kale Ash blades. Even if the Duece II is a limited use blade, which kind of sounds like a sick joke. Why buy it if it's limited use? Maybe it suggests something about the duality of man, sir. I don't know. Anyway, if you like this sort of content, subscribe, buy a t-shirt. One person did last month. Donate to my Patreon, like these poor souls have. Like the video. Here's a logo a patron made me a while back that it took me 6 months to notice because it was in a weird spot on the page and I really don't know how to navigate Patreon. Yeah, I'm a terrible person, but leave a nice comment or a mean one. The joke's really on you anyway, whether you realize it or not. Thanks for watching.